just quite the same. I could tape up everything and I had a good result, but that would take ages. So that's we still should have an efficient approach, and so therefore the diagnostics are so important to really find it out in a small period of time.
So, well, this is a good opportunity to mention your workshops coming to Australia. Do you teach this? The observation and the postural assessments that lead to? Because a lot of courses you'll go there and they'll say, this is a tool. You do your own postural observations. You do your own testing. And then this is a tool that you can use. But you include the whole package.
You need to understand it. And it's not just the anatomy trains. It's not just the body reading. It's not just how you move. It's everything combined. So in the end, it's my approach to read people and understanding why the sensation of pain is somewhere else than the source of the problem. And that's the most important thing. I could give you the recipe of how to apply the tapes, but you would be not that successful, and you would take way longer than I would take, and so that's not efficient. But understanding what I teach in theory or the theory behind it, you can also transfer it to whatever you're doing in your physiotherapy, in your osteopathy. It's not just about taping. It's way more developed than people would think at the beginning. And I taught a group of osteopaths of the German Osteopathy Association. 2 years ago was the first course, and it was they called it a masterclass, which went 3 days. And the first day was quite hard because their knowledge is nice. They know about fascia in a different way that I see it. And so I couldn't hardly speak one sentence in one go. And they would go, are you sure? Is it not like this or like that? And I just said, okay, it's really something new. You have to give me a little bit of time to really just to roll my theory out, and it was a really long day, hard day for me, but fun day, because I like when people have good questions, when they see complex patterns. Also, the complexer, the better the workshop, because that's where it makes fun. The more people come with problems, or the more problems they bring to a workshop, the better, because that's where you really learn the most. Because I could tell you so many things. If you do this, you can be sure to have this effect or result. If you don't see it, you would not believe how capable, how effective that method is. So you have to see it, and especially the approach. Why do I start at the hip when I have a ankle joint problem? Why do I start at the TMJ when I have a SIJ problem? Why is the knee or the adductors pretty much a victim and just struggling because of something else? So the criminal is somewhere else, and you have to find a criminal to have a long-term success. I could treat and tape the victims, and I could also have freedom of pain, so they would be pain-free, but it's just a matter of time when the problem would come back, when it would be painful again. So you have to see the whole picture, and that's the key. And the second day of the workshop with the osteopaths was, okay, that's really nice, we have to include it into our curriculum. So I could change their minds in 1 day more or less, or in 2 days. So the taping is for every professional working with people with movement, with pain. I'm a lot working with teaching therapists from elite sports clubs, from the Bundesliga or Premier League or rugby union national teams, because it keeps the effects during movement, maintains the effects. But also I'm working a lot with myofascial pain syndromes. So with people having pain for not only months but for years or decades, and coming to me having tried pretty much everything they say.
Like the fibromyalgia type syndromes?
For example. No, but people with often tennis elbow impingement at the shoulder, low back pain, something with the hip, knee, the major joints. Yesterday I had or the last 2 days, I was teaching a group again, and there was a lady. She had surgery in 2013, and some renowned doctors said afterwards she will never be able to move properly again, to extend the leg or flex the knee. I videotaped it and I will upload it soon, because that was so great. She said she can only walk 50 or 100 meters, then the knee becomes sore and painful. And it took me 3 minutes with taping, and it was a totally different gait she had. She was free of pain. Many people from the group knew her problem. They knew her before the surgery, before it started, and afterwards, and they couldn't believe their eyes. But for me, it was just the fascial planes. They were just not gliding enough. There was scar tissue restricting the movement, and the muscles, they couldn't work properly. So there was no good motor control, because the fascial system is just not in a state that it can be a good movement. And on my way back home, I went to a Bundesliga club because they asked me if I could pop by and see a player, and he had knee problems, but his knee problems were just a victim of pretty much the ankle and the hip joint. But the hip joint and the ankle, they were suffering from many other things in the body. So in the end, if you have a problem somewhere, you have to look at the whole body, because everything will have to do more if something is not doing enough. And so that's why people are looking at me and asking me, are you sure you want to start there? Because I would never start there. And I say yes, and after one tape or two, then they will see why I started there, because it's the big part of the problem.
Well, it's very true, because I mean, like you've mentioned, there's the rock tape, the kinesio tape, the kinesiology taping, and all those sort of things. But your name just keeps popping.